Hi, it's Jez here from Nigezza.co.uk. Thanks for joining me today. So I'm starting a new journal. I'm doing a winter journal, and I'm using a DigiKit for this. I didn't lots of winter things now. People are making Christmas. I wanted a winter journal that didn't really have much Christmas. I mean, it's got a couple of holly leaves, but that's like the sort of foliage that you get at Christmas, around this time of year in the winter, and it's associated with Christmas. And I didn't want anything with animals, so lots of the kits I looked at had like forest animals in it. Lots of them had like Father Christmas and Christmas trees, etc. I wanted something that wasn't. I did see a couple of sort of snowflakey sort of white wintry ones, and then I came across this green one and I thought, oh yeah, that's a bit different. I'm gonna go for that. This is called Winter Green and it's by Emma Parish on Etsy. And so I printed it all off and I've cut it all out ready. So you get sheets. I was going to show you it intact, but I haven't. So you get sheets with pockets, and there's some library cards, some journaling cards, some tags. So the ones with the tags and things I printed double-sided. So these lot are printed out on card. These are printed on card as well. This is paper. So the card I've used is 200 GSM. And so in the kit you get some backing pages. So you get this sort of brown tone with lines in it, and you get just sort of mottled. You also get a green one. So there's another one with the line. Da, da, da. The reason why those pockets are done is because they happen to be on the same page there. So then you get a green version. So I thought it was quite nice to have the two different styles. There is a greener version of this as well, but I didn't print that. So yeah, so these are all on 200 GSM card, which I've just started using, and I think it's quite a nice weight for a journaling card. I quite often make them much more robust, but then I always add to them. So they'll probably be like that will get added to. So that will add to the bulk. I wouldn't have necessarily chosen to back the pockets. I would have probably just inked down them. But they, as I say, they were on the same sheet. These have all been cut out with my Scan and Cut. So then these were also on the card, but I have tea dyed the back of these because they're going to get stuck down. The pockets are going to get stuck down. I didn't need to waste ink, so I tea dyed them. So all of this has been tea dyed, and they've been left flattening overnight. So what I did to these was I made half a pint of tea. I used 4 tea bags, so it was quite strong. I did it on the card and on this in the same way. I just got I've got this paintbrush. I just painted the tea on, put it on the radiator because it was in the evening, and we put the heating on. So they didn't take long to dry. My radiators are that wide, and then they've got sort of grids on it, which is why I've got that sort of effect on it, and I really like it. Then once dried, I then took them off and I gave them a second coat of tea, which is why it's quite dark. The card is not quite as dark. It still had a second coat, but that must be the difference between the absorption of the paper and the card. So they've all been under a pile of books overnight. So that's them. So it's belly bands and pocket fronts, which I could have just inked, but as I was tea dyeing, that's what I did. So there's that. And so these are the papers. So I've got 12 pages and then there was the 4 backing as well. So most of them have got this sort of green pattern. So this is 120 GSM paper. You have to be a little bit careful. You can see there on the edging, this side got a little bit wet. Because this is an inkjet printer, it will take some of the ink out, but I'm not bothered about that, to be fair. So these are all the green sheets, which I really liked. And what I liked as well is that I could use these in other journals as well. Doesn't just have to be from this winter one. So I like that when I'm choosing kits, it's their versatility. I don't always buy a kit. I've only ever bought 2 other kits that were a theme like this, specifically to make a journal. And then there's 3 sheets that are this sort of brownie colour, which I really liked. Again, very versatile. This. There we go. And I say painting on. It's the first time I've kind of tried it. And it worked, and it was really quick. I would say this whole process took me about an hour and 15 maybe to get this done. Not long at all. So yeah, and so if you're new to junk journaling and you've got a printer, it's quite a good way to sort of start. I will be adding to this. I never sort of particularly think that this is going to be enough, but it is a good basis. I'll probably add some just plain tea dyed paper as well. I'll add some vintage documents. I'll add obviously some ribbons and laces and cheesecloth and all that sort of thing as well. And probably some die cut leaves and things and foliage because it's a winter journal. But I just wanted to sort of show you that. I have, because probably people will ask, I have a HP printer. I have one of their subscriptions for printing. I have 100 print sheets a month, and I pay £4.50 for that. It used to be £4, but it's gone up. I want to move that over a little tad. Yeah, it's just annoying me. Now it's all squiff. I probably haven't achieved anything anyway. Yeah, so I find it's good value. I like the prints. I use navigator paper for this, and they do a 200 GSM cardstock as well. So that's where I got all that from. So these are going to be my pages. I might choose to print some of these sheets off onto card to make some more tags later on. But for the moment, this is the kit without any sort of extra bits. Now I'm going to be making a traveller's notebook. Not an ordinary size. I'm doing it for a swap. So these need cutting down. That one's kind of got a crease in the middle, so I want that to be the middle. The rest of them I pretty much can cut down. Yeah, that's the only one that really I want to stick to, that being the middle. Now traveller's notebooks are, I think, 8 1/4 by 8 1/4, or is it 8 1/2 by 8 1/2? I think they're 8 1/2 by 8 1/2, but that, I mean, that's because Americans' letter size paper is 8 1/2 wide. Ours are 8 1/4, so I'm going to be doing 8 1/4 by 8 1/4. So because that is all I can do. So I am on this one. I'm going to fold this up because I want that centerpiece to be at the center. So so that it's I just think it would look odd if we had like a fault line. So that's what I'm doing. So I don't know, do I want to cut this at 4 1/4? Might cut it at 4 1/4. I am actually just going to check, because we've got a brief and I just want to check if they've got a specific width. Yeah, they're saying 8 inches by 4 inches, but it might be slightly taller. So I'll cut this at 4. So I've got some spare strips. They will get used for something. Shall I cut it down to 8 inches? I maybe will. And then it's all the same. Tiny little scrap. So that means that all the sheets are going to be 8 by 8. So that one needed to be that way. Whether I do it that way or that way doesn't really matter, but I wanted that to be in the center. The rest doesn't really matter. So I might just trim that down there to 8 inches. And then I've got a nice big piece there. I could take a bit of that off there where it got slightly wet. So I think that works okay, and then we can just fold it in half. I was going to score it then. I was like, just fold it in half, Jez. Get it folded. So I've got 12 sheets, so times that by 4, that's 48. So that's 48 pages, sort of, from the start. Quite like that. That might go as a nice middle page. That tea is quite dark. Quite like it. I might try the next one, just doing one. Now what I could do is have some flaps. So I could or pockets. So I could fold that in half. Trim it down to 8 inches. Score it at 4. And then they could either form side pockets in there, or it could be a flip out. So I'm not going to do that to everyone because that would be a bit boring. But that could certainly be something I could do with one. You can buy kits that are actually TN sized, but so the printing would just be in the centre of the page, and you'd have white bits at the either side. Some of these pockets will need trimming down, so let me just have a little look-see. So these pockets here, that one's fine. That one's sort of almost perfect fit there, but these ones will be too big. It folds in there and it folds in there, so we'll have to do a little bit of adjusting on that. If I just do a bit of scoring along there. So that's the bottom section. It's going to fold up. So I'm going to have a little look-see on there. That's like the centre point. That's like 2 there. So we've got to come in about 1/4 of an inch from that section there. So that scoring will have to be there. Let's do it so that's at the top. So that's where it's scored. So we score in another 1/4 of an inch. Obviously we'll have to trim and do the same on that side. That, you can see there, brings us into our 4 inches, and it keeps the pocket centered. So that's how I'm going to deal with that one. That will fit just right there on the page. And the other pocket that I have, it can just be trimmed. There's this one that can simply be trimmed. We can just trim that edge off, or I can tuck them over and make the pocket like this one so you can fit more in it, but I think I'm just going to trim it off. So that one's fine. Might have to trim just a tad more off actually. Creating scraps, it's what we love. So I'm just coming in a smidge more. And then there was this one, but that one you can see when that's folded, be absolutely fine. Scoring down those lines. Which you can do with a ruler quite easily. So that's that pocket there. I might trim some of this edge off rather than keep them like that. Unless I use it as a fold out, that could flap out. No, I'm not doing that. I think to give it less bulk, I'll go there at 1/2 inch. Cut some of that off, and then I've got a little, use that as a little tuck. I'm putting that on 1/2 inch, lining up there and there. Same on here. I prefer that, and that will sit on a page quite easily. With a tag, there are tags already cut and journaling cards, so that will fit nicely. So that deals with the pockets. So I've got to go through and trim these down. And I say some of them I'll do with these tucks, and some of them I'll just cut as they are. One of the things about having a pocket like this, you will end up having to trim, so that could be an issue. So this pockets can't be nearer in the centre because they will end up being cut off as you trim the edges. So if that pocket, I'm not explaining it very well, that pocket was the middle one, you'll be trimming off there, so you trim off that fold. So I may just leave those to be folded afterwards. So I may leave some, say that one, that's not cut down, and then trim them all and then put it in afterwards and fold it. That would work, wouldn't it? Yeah, that would work. So the ones that are going to be folded to form pockets, I won't trim down. So I'm thinking I might want one of these nice brown designs. I might have those two as pockets. We've already got one, so that would be 3. I might do 4, and then that's a quarter of them, isn't it? Yeah. 3. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3. One I've already done is 4, 4, 8, 12. Yes, so that'd be a quarter of them done. So I'll trim all of these down to 8 by 8 and fold them in half. Okay, so that's all done, and these ones sticking out, the ones that are going to be folded afterwards, so I will remove them when I'm going to do the trimming down and add them in after. I've got some other things I might put in. So at the moment I'm looking at there being that as a pocket page, then we've got a green page, a brown page that's going to be pocketed, another green page, another brown page, green page that's going to be pocketed, 2 green, a brown that's going to be pocketed, a green that way, and then a green that way. I thought I might have that as the centre of my journal. That's just how I'm thinking at the moment. And then I thought I might want to put some doilies. I don't think I've made a journal without a doily. I had some big ones already dyed. These ones aren't dyed, but I realised that the big ones wouldn't fit in. They'd be too wide. So, whereas this, fold it in half. Obviously it needs dyeing. This size will fit in. So I've got those to tea dye. I've still got a little bit of the tea solution left over. I think that's 2 there, Jez. It is. So we'll probably put the heating on soon. It's getting a bit chilly. If I get chilly in my craft room, I know it's chilly in the house, because this is one of the warmest rooms in the house. So when it's just me at home, no bother. I don't put the heating on till quite late. But when Ed's in, he's like, no, let's have some heating on. But he's out at the moment, buying me some surprises. It is my birthday in 2 days, so I don't know if he's buying me a surprise for that, because I've already had my birthday present. But it might be for Christmas. So I think it's something he saw at the weekend and he's going back for. So I don't know if he ordered it and they didn't have it in stock. I don't know. I'm only speculating. So There we go. So yeah, doily, that will look nice. Nice size. Yeah, so 2 of them. I've got these 2 brown bags. These are gusseted. These are sandwich bags from Tesco's. So I might use them, but I'm going to take the gusset out because I think that will be better. Let me just see how that will fit. Yeah, that will just fit there nicely. It might end up trimming down. Obviously that end's going to get trimmed down anyway, so that's that. And then I've got some, these are from, I think, the first bits of coffee dye I ever done. I've still got a few bits left. So I did some sheets where I folded them up. I quite like that as an effect. And then some lined paper, and because it's going to be a TM, you can fold it that way and the lines will be in the right place. Nice for journaling. So I'll get those trimmed down and then I'll show you what I'm going to do with the bags. Okay, so they're all trimmed down and slotted in. So I decided to put the doily in. I will be colouring it though. So that's how I decided to put them. Like so. I'm feeling like I don't want that there. I'm feeling that I want it there. Just felt that was a bit too dark, although that's not staying white. But yeah, that was just the thoughts. And then we've got our bags. So my other bags are just the wrong colour, so I'm going to just trim a bit off of the bottom. It's not that straight. I'm going to trim because it's narrow. I think I might trim that whole section off. Keep that in my scraps, so that when this is folded in half, it is well and truly under the 4 inches. Let's do it this way. There's a butt there as well. Because they're in their box, sort of folded a bit, which is why I'm having a bit of difficulty with this. So yeah, so that's well under, that's at 3.5 inches, so that works really well. But as I say, it's got this gusset and I don't want that, so what I do is I'm opening it out and I'm going to slice the corner off. Again, that will go in my scraps, and then I can use just a little tape runner if I used it up the right way and not upside down. If it wasn't empty. Oh dear. I don't often use these because I used to use them all the time because they were quick, but now I just don't trust them as glues. But this is just a paper bag, so I'm not too worried about it. I keep meaning to buy myself some paper bags that aren't like this, but I've got these. I'm going to use them up first. And actually, I don't mind this. I like that they're kind of made of grease proof, and I get some nice grease proof paper scraps each time, which are very useful. And then that's it. So now I've got a paper bag without really a gusset. So now that that's folded, that works okay. It's not opening at the side, is it? It's just there at the top it is a bit. I'll just glue that bit down with wet glue. Just don't think I went to the top. Okay, so that's how I'm doing a paper bag. So I took all of that off, didn't I? Cut off all of the bottom. We are going to give it a good crease first. Find that helps. Yep. Slice off the sides. Of course, if you've got ordinary brown paper bags without these gussety bits, then you don't have to do this bit. Going to the end this time. Oh. Do you know, no wonder my trimmer gets mucky when I do things like this on it. So that's that. Do this side. And of course, these are only what I'm putting in. You can put whatever you want in yours. If you haven't got these things, don't put them in. Do you. There's no rules. Do your own thing. So now these can be added in. So I might put one in there. I've got another place for this. Yeah, we'll go in there. And then go in there. So that, I think, is how we're going to do it. Obviously, they're going to get folded back. So, pocket. doily, lined paper, page, paper bag, pocket, page, pocket, doily, page, pocket, and then obviously there'll be those other pockets put on, but that is basically it. So we've got, we call it 2, 4, don't count the doily, 6, 8, I do count that, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36. 36 again is 36 and 36 is 72. 72 pages, front and back, going into that journal. It will end up as quite a little chunky monkey when it's done, but that's okay. I haven't thought about the cover yet. Need to think about the cover before I sew. So I'm going to leave that for today, and I will dye these before the next one, get the cover, and we'll do that so that we can, I really need to know where I'm trimming these so that I can fold these back. That's what I really need to do, because that's going to be difficult to work with if it isn't. I might do this, that I've sewn the signatures in and then decorate. It's not normally the way I do it. It was the way I did my very first journal. So I might do that. Yeah, here I am waffling now, soz. So that's what I'm going to do in the next one, is get the cover done and sew those signatures. All right. So hope that's been useful in terms of how to use a DigiKit and putting some pages together, and thinking about the other sheets that you might put with it that aren't from the DigiKit. Okay, so see you all next time. I'll start a playlist with my, I'll call it my Green Winter Traveller's Notebook. Okay, see you all again soon. Bye for now. Don't forget to like and subscribe.